Hello again, and welcome to the Noble Father podcast. Today is October the 6th of 2025, and we are officially into October. There's never going to be a day like today, and, I think about so much, thank you for joining, for one, this podcast was difficult to get going after just at the beginning of the year. I just felt like more and more the monologues were just getting more and more tiresome. But, after what happened with Charlie Kirk, I did feel like I needed to get back into it and start speaking boldly again. And today's podcast, you'll really hear kind of how my mind is going with the way things are going in this world. There's a lot of things that have been happening in my country, in the world, that I've been trying to keep track of. I need to sound alarm bells. These are warning bells that need to go off, because men in the faith, right? Men who are God-fearing men, really need to pay attention. It is coming to a time when we are being persecuted for what we believe in. Here in Canada, if you are a person who believes in traditional values and you believe in a status quo, right, that God is in the nation and has always been in law, that you believe in objective truth, that you are now a far right extremist. And I mean, case in point, Elon Musk, agreed to a post where this lady was saying, to have far right extremist values is the new conservative, and he agreed with that. And I would say that I agree with that. Like, I believe in family values. I believe in a father and a mother taking care of their children. I believe that God is the center of our lives and we need to pursue him to the utmost. I believe in there being only a male and a female in this world. There's no other gender. I believe in the traditional values. That is what I believe in. And this the danger here with us as Christians, and this is something that I played that video last week of the Imam of Peace, Muhammad Tawhidi. He was saying how did America get weaker, or did the he said the garbage ideology of those kind of Muslims, did they get stronger? Like, did the West get weaker or did the East get stronger? And his conclusion was that both, right? Both. Like, we've really eroded our country values, right? Even America, right? America was founded on the Constitution, and a lot of those founding fathers were all Christian. They're all God-fearing men. And we've gone away from that. Even Canada, right? Canada has it in the anthem, right? And all thy sons command. That is in the song. That is in the anthem. That is who we are. The Ten Commandments is in the law itself. There's no law that supersedes the Ten Commandments. It's as basic as the Ten Commandments. And we've gotten away from it. Now, the dangerous thing also is that we've been emasculating men. We've emasculated men. We've also taken away we've forgotten that Jesus was a very bold and very strong in what he believed. He was unwavering in what he stood for. He detested sin. He hated sin, but he loved people. And that's exactly what we are trying to do. And what I am trying to do in my life is try to live that way, is that I am unapologetic about what I believe, and I am going to stand and die on this hill that what God says is the truth, is foundational, and without it, we will not thrive and we will not be blessed. Sad to say, we will not be blessed. The other thing that I'm seeing in our world today is these Christians who, and when I say these Christians, I mean the ones who bend the rules. They take the word and they bend it to fit their narrative, to fit their ideal, fit their worldview. They put pride flags on churches. They put, they take God's word and they bend it a little bit. To me, I guess you could say I'm a purist, right? What does the Bible say? The Bible is utmost authority. Utmost authority. In that Charlie Kirk episode that I was talking about, his death and what it meant to me and how it impacted my life, right? There were people who were going online that were talking about how Charlie Kirk was a terrible father because, because somebody proposed the scenario that if his 10-year-old daughter was raped by a man and was impregnated by this person, which is a terrible evil, right? I'm not saying that's a good thing. I have a daughter myself, and I can't even fathom that, okay? But the reason why he would say that she needs to carry it to term is because God believes in life. God believes in the creation of life, and he would not want us to kill this fetus or this baby inside of his 10-year-old daughter. And why does he say that? Well, he says that because God's law is above everything else. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you think of a father. God is the utmost authority. Is that a hard thing to say? Absolutely. Do you think that's easy for any father to be okay with this disgusting, despicable act that took away the dignity of his daughter and to do something so heinous and gross to her? To be okay with this, having to carry this baby to term? No. But it also can't be said that we as Christians need to be all loving and soft and turn the other cheek and let these people walk all over us. Like, we're losing this country, right? Canada is falling. If anything, it's fallen, right? And people will ask me, man, what are you talking about, man? Like, you're a conspiracy theorist, or you are this wild thinking person. You're not thinking straight. But it's like, no, like, look at the world around us. We have examples of countries who have taken away the rights of the citizens. You can't even, the belief of Christianity is the most persecuted in the whole world. You can't tell me any other religion comes even remotely close. It's not even close. Get out of your algorithm and go look it up. How many church bombings there are, how many church arsons there are, how many, go to Nigeria, look at Nigeria, right? 7,000 Christians were shot or something, like killed because of what they believed in, burned down their churches. Like, nobody's drawing any attention. Legacy media is not even showing you in the news that Christians are being persecuted. In the UK, you can't even preach on the streets because it's hateful or hurtful to other people, namely the Muslims probably. They just don't enjoy it. Dearborn, Michigan, right? Christians, you're not allowed. The mayor has told the citizens of Dearborn, Christians, you are not welcome in this city. Get out. This is happening. It's already going on. Guys posting things on, like, can't even say Merry Christmas nowadays. Saw another video the other day. There's an imam that was saying that Christmas is wishing, he's telling fellow Muslims to say Merry Christmas is actually it's an act of violence towards them. To be told Merry Christmas. Right now it's just, it's a festivity. We say Happy Holidays. We don't say Merry Christmas because we don't believe in that. But dude, like, it's so deeply ingrained in our culture that we've just walked away from it. And Christians have been okay with it. Yeah, do we want to force feed people into what to believe? No, absolutely not. But I think that there is an aspect of, if you love somebody and you know that their chosen path is one towards destruction and you don't say anything about it, like, would you be okay with that? Right? Like, who is it? Penn was saying that. Let me look this up because this is an amazing story. Penn Teller, if you know who that is, it's a magician guy that they're the longest running Las Vegas show in Las Vegas. And I need to find this first because, and I'm reading from this book called 5 Marks of a Man by Brian Tome. And it is unbelievable, this book. If you are a man who is looking to grow in your spiritual dimension, I highly recommend you look up this book because, it says, like, hey, there's 15-year-old men and there are 45-year-old boys, right, in this world that we live in. And, like, where are you? Where do you sit? Are you a 15-year-old boy, man, or are you a 45-year-old boy? And And that makes all the difference, right? Like that's literally the topic that we're talking about right now, is that you have so many people in this world that's just been emasculated, and they're not men. They don't live like men should. And what was the saying where, good times create weak men create hard times create strong men, and then we just keep cycling that back and forth. I can't find this right now. There's just too many, but I am going to look it up actually, because I think it's very important that we get on. Right. He's and Penn Teller, or Penn Jillette. Penn and Teller is the name of the show that he leads. So this is what he says. He says, "I've always said that I don't respect people who don't proselytize." What does proselytize mean? It's like telling people about God, telling friends, or evangelism is another word for it. He says that he doesn't respect people who don't proselytize. So if you keep your faith to yourself, you keep your story to yourself, he doesn't respect you. Because he says, I don't respect that at all. He says that if you believe that there is a heaven and a hell, and people could be going to hell or not getting eternal life, and you think that it's not really worth telling them this because it would make it socially awkward, and atheists who think people shouldn't proselytize and who say just leave me alone and keep your religion to yourself, how much do you have to hate somebody to not proselytize? I'm going to repeat that. How much do you have to hate somebody to not proselytize? How much do you have to hate somebody to believe everlasting life is possible and not tell them that? That is powerful. This is from a known atheist. He absolutely hates God. Just doesn't want to believe, is resistant to him. And where did this come about? And this came about from who he describes as a very, very, very good man giving him a Bible as a gift. And he also goes on to say, if I believed beyond the shadow of a doubt that a truck was coming at you and you didn't believe that truck was bearing down on you, there's a certain point where I tackle you. And this is more important than that. That's unbelievable to hear that from an atheist, right? How much do you have to hate somebody to not proselytize to them that they are headed down the wrong path? Now, here's the thing, is that the world that we live in now will tell you that it is a hate crime to disagree with somebody. We're at the point where sending memes online is a hate crime. It's a thought crime. And one day when you disagree or somebody disagrees, they will tell you and you will be held accountable. We're getting to that point. Canada's prime minister just announced online, or not online, but I guess everywhere, that American social media and news agencies are now a cesspool of misinformation, of hate, spewing hatred, of racism, of bigotry, of misogyny. Like, pay attention. Like, think about that. Is that reality? Is that actually true? Right? So many people look at Canada and think, oh, wow, Canada is so progressive and it's so loving and it's so accepting of people and this and that. Is it really? Pretty soon I will not have to take an airplane and be in China because it's coming here. And I've really been thinking about that because, like, to become a totalitarian state, right, you want to take away the guns. You want to take out the rights of the people. You want to make it so that dissension is snuffed out and so you can't say anything. So what do? You make truth subjective, and you also make hate crimes very subjective. And it's funny because there was a reel that I watched that drew parallels from, communism and the Cultural Revolution and how it affected how it was in China and how it was very similar to what Canada is doing right now to its citizens, is that there's going to come a point where children will turn on their parents. It's funny because the Bible says there's a time where that's going to take place, that children will turn on their parents and that neighbors are going to turn on each other right? We're going to report each other and, say, oh, wow, Theo is posting about this, and he needs to be charged with hate crimes because he hates Muslims, or he hates trans people, or he hates homosexuals. But that couldn't be, and even if it's further from the truth, it doesn't matter. Anybody subjectively can just say, it's pretty much a witch hunt. If you're unfamiliar with what the witch hunt was in the medieval ages, if somebody was suspected of being a witch, what they would do is they would put this person to a chair, like strap them to a chair, and it's on a bit of a teeter-totter, and they would dunk this person in the water. And the rationale is that if the witch was able to survive or get out, because this person is bound to a chair and like literally forced into the water to drown, if the witch gets out of the water, then it confirms that they're a witch. If they die, then it confirms that they're not a witch, but they go to heaven, or God redeems them or something. The other thing was like, they stick out your hand. If you can hold a coal without it burning your hands, then you're a witch. But if it doesn't burn your hands, then you are a witch. So either way, you're screwed. So, we have that here, right? We're having that here now in Canada. The new hate crimes are making it so the new hate crime definition now is anything that's subjective. Anybody can make a decision. They can bypass the attorney general and go straight to persecuting you, and the charges that they can, like the fine, the repercussions that they can charge you with now is that you could go to jail from anywhere from 2 years to life in prison. They can take away your telecommunication access, so you don't have internet, you don't have a cell phone. Not to mention the criminal record aspect, in the sense that you won't have the ability to leave the country. Chances are, to other places that, like America, they won't let you in. I mean, can't imagine what it means for you in terms of job prospects, right? The list goes on and on. And, to bypass the only control, which is the attorney general, so pretty much thoughts are wrong. Anything that is remotely hate is wrong. And what's crazy is that we're already in a place that's very one-sided. Churches that are being firebombed are being ignored, which means that hate crimes towards Christianity is largely going unnoticed and unrecognized, and there's nobody is making a stink or raising alarms over it. So which means that this place is slowly becoming one of those places where you cannot believe in God. You cannot believe in traditional family values, which is from God. You cannot believe in the golden rule. You cannot believe in the 10 commandments. You cannot say Merry Christmas to people. There's a RCMP spokesperson that was saying anybody believing in traditional values and departing from the that hold on to firmly the gender roles, that there's only 2 gender roles, that they might be an extremist. Like, this is the police officer. This is a spokesperson for the federal police force. What is federal? It means the entire country. They are the main police force, RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This is the spokesperson saying this about anybody who believes in traditional values, anybody who believes in 2 genders. Like, this person is an extremist. Am I an extremist, though? Like, what was it? And the same would be said about Charlie Kirk. He was a far-right extremist. What was extremist about what he believed? Think about it. Play it all out. Believes in family values. So what does that mean? Getting married, having lots of kids, right? God is first, right? Those 3 things. What else did he believe, right? That kids should not harm themselves and change themselves from what God designed them to be. That was ultimately what he believed, right? What else didn't he believe in? He didn't believe in giving money to migrant workers and bankrupting the country, and the citizens of the country does not get the benefits, does not reap the benefits of the country. Like, it's just not fair. What else did he not believe? He didn't believe that there should be any kind of DEI. What is DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's like equality and inclusion, I think. Equality. Anyways, it's departing meritocracy, right? You should, if there was a race and I said that, because we want more, Asian runners to represent the podium, right? That we would give them the podium rather than the top 5 finishers who are all black or white. That is what DEI is. It takes away the merit of the performance. So what? Those 5 people don't. Their effort doesn't count. What if they worked harder than the Asian person, right? Maybe there's genetic, there's biological contributions to why they won. Like, it should be a merit-based system. It shouldn't be, we need to fill a quota for equality, and so we're gonna hire more blacks, more Asians. We're gonna hire more this, that, or the other. It should be based on merit. If you can't score high on a test, it's just unfair for you to bypass somebody else. And that was his main thing. It was like, would you be okay if I told you that the plane that you were getting on, the pilot was in the middle of the class and not the best pilot to be piloting the plane? Would you be okay with that? I think anybody who's in charge of their own life would say that's not a good idea. That's not a good decision. Play that out over many years, right? An airline is in charge of thousands and thousands of flights every single year. Eventually that's going to come at the cost of human life. Is that okay? I don't think that's okay, right? So these things are all things that Charlie Kirk believed. Is that a really far right? He's not saying that he doesn't want trans people. He doesn't want, gay people in positions. Like, earn it. His thing is just earn it. Can you earn it? It's a merit-based system. It's not any kind of hate. And any kind of disagreement doesn't mean hate. It's not hate. And so we need to be careful not to jump that gun and jump straight to the hate thing. I need to return to the topic, because the topic is that we as a Christian nation has departed from our roots, right? And my friend Alex yesterday, because we went to the patch here and we were talking, it's that people are wanting the fruit without the roots. That's what he said, the fruits without the roots, right? So anybody coming here engrosses in the culture and they want the fruits, but they don't want the roots. What is the roots? The roots is what we traditionally believed in. What are our Canadian cultures or American cultures? What is the founding fathers? What did they say? What did they intend for our country, right? What did they mean? Why is there a right to bear arms in America, right? So that no tyrannical government could come and take over this place. And yes, that is part of their history, because they, got away from British rule and they became an independent country themselves, which is something now that when I look back on, it's like, wow, like that's a good thing. Getting that independence is a good thing, right? Freedom to bear arms, right? Freedom to speak out, right? We've lost that. And here's the thing for us as Canada, right? We are a Christian nation. We always were a Christian nation, right? Right? For king and country, right? I guess God, king, and country. That's what it was before, right? And we've departed from that. And we wonder, why is our land not being blessed? Well, because we've departed from that. We are literally a country of sin, right? Greed. And here's the thing that I'll read from 2 Timothy this morning that I read, right? Godlessness in the last days. This is literally everything that we are right now. And I'm going to close with this because this is very important for you to know. I want you to think about where you land on this. And this is not me being perfect and saying that I'm all good at some of these things I do myself, but I hold myself to account. And I want you to think about this for yourself as well, right? And pay attention to this, because there are certainly people like this everywhere. Every single person this aligns to, right? Somebody could attach these things to themselves and say, yeah, I could do better in this regard. Please ask yourself that. 2 Timothy 3:2-7 says, "For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. Avoid such people, for among them are those who creep into households and capture weak women, burdened with sins, and led astray by various passions, always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. I really like that last part. Always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. What's crazy is that we are literally in that time in that world where, dude, these discussions and conversations that you have with friends, they just, as soon as and you hear me iterate this all the time, as soon as they disagree, go straight to name calling. And so no matter what is being presented to them, even how true the information is, it's just foolishness to them. They just don't receive it. And I think, like, when I look at that, I think of the algorithm, right? Because nobody gets out of it. People don't get out of it. They stay in their little bubble. And what do they call it now? The echo chamber, right? You just keep getting fed things that validate you. Oh, let's go discredit Charlie Kirk. So everything in your feed is discrediting Charlie Kirk. You don't ever think outside of the box. You don't ever think outside of your little echo chamber. The same with Trump. Oh, Trump bad. Find everything to validate that. Oh, Polyev bad. Everything bad to look at that, right? And you don't get out of that algorithm to look at the truth, or what are all the facts? What is going on? I do this with people that I don't admire either, right? Like Mark Carney here in Canada, the Prime Minister. Like, I try my best to find the good in what he's trying to say, but like there's really like no substance to anything that is good. I don't know how anybody can think that he is like a good prime minister for this country. Like I can't find that. And if there is, like, man, please send it to me, because like I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And there just isn't. And so avoid these people. Avoid such people, right? Is that there are these people. And also, search yourself. Like, am I this? Right? What am I in there? Right? What do I need to work on? Because God is calling us to something higher, something better, right? And so if you're a Christian father listening to this, like, don't be afraid to proselytize, right? Don't be afraid to evangelize. Don't be afraid to share your faith with those around you, because guys need it. Fathers need it, right? You're not willing to be wrong about it for your children. So you can imagine if a father is in the wild and he's lost and he's looking for answers, you might be the person. You might be that person to them. God doesn't give you these relationships for nothing. Be intentional in their life and answer those questions and ask those questions and be intentional. Ask them how they're doing. How are things going in their life? And like, if we care about if we care about them as a person, you would care about their spiritual realm as well. And so I want to leave that at this. I don't want to go too long with these episodes. 28 minutes is a little long to be going on this. I certainly appreciate your time spending it with me. I hope that you listen to what is being shared and really think about your life honestly, because, there is going to come a time where it's going to be even more difficult. If you think right now is going to be hard, the birth pains, like the Bible says, before Jesus returns with the sword, the times are going to get harder. We are going to be persecuted more and more for what we believe, and we need to stand firmly on what we believe. We need to be vigilant, and we need to be warriors. We're not called to just be docile. We're not called to just be soft. We need to be strong, and we need to be bold in our faith. We need to stand as warriors together. If you're a dad listening to this for the first time, if you're looking for community, if you're looking for fathers who get it and understand the journey, we have meetups every single week that we do in our community to hold that space for dads who are looking to grow and to be better. And we're also working on new tiers down the pipeline to get guys deeper into growth on the 7 domains of their wellness. This is something that I'm currently in development working on. I got a big thing coming up this next week. There's going to be a trip that I'm taking to Cincinnati. I'm taking part in Man Camp, which is the camp that book, The 5 Marks of a Man, Brian Tome runs in Cincinnati. And there's going to be, a guest speaker like Dante Bowen, Bear Grylls. So, Bear Grylls, he's going to be there speaking. And so I'm going to take part in that. It's going to be an amazing time. I think that As men, we really need to surround ourselves with good men, put ourselves in a position to be uncomfortable, right? Look at all the boyish qualities that we have and try to move them towards being men, right? What does it mean to be a man, right? And man of God, right? Because that is the utmost, that is the pinnacle, right? When you start living for something other than yourself and you realize that without God, you are nothing. So thank you for joining me. I hope this finds you well. And remember that we're not promised tomorrow, so be present and stay noble. Take care. Bye for now.